Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm Seb. For those of you who don't know me, I upload animal rights and veganism related content every single week on this channel, and thank you for clicking on this video. Today I want to quickly talk about different ways that we can actually know whether or not the activism that we're doing is effective. And most importantly, is there already a few things that we know that is really effective? Now, make sure to stay until the end of the video so you can find out what those types of activism are, because I've been thinking about making this video for a while and I really believe that my assumption is right. However, I would love to hear your feedback and see what you think. Before we get into it, I'd like to ask you to subscribe and hit the notification button so that you can stay up to date with these videos. You can also check me out on other social media platforms if you're using them. And if you wish, you can visit my website to get a free ebook about animal rights and logical fallacies, a philosophy-based book that will help you communicate about veganism with your friends and doing your activism much easier. It's available in 20 languages and, as I said, completely for free. Check out my website for that and make the most out of the ebook. So the reason why I wanted to make this video is because I get a lot of messages from people saying, hey, what is the best type of activism? Or hey, I'm gonna start doing activism. What should I start with? What is the most impactful way of activism? And I always say that there's no one perfect way of activism, otherwise we'd all be doing that, right? However, that's not necessarily completely true. And I will explain why. Not because I've been lying about it, but I think there's more to it than just that. We do have certain ways to check how impactful activism can be. Now, in my personal experience, one thing I used to do when I used to do university and school lectures was get the teachers or administration to send the students anonymous surveys. Anonymous surveys are very helpful because people don't feel the pressure to say something that they know you want to hear when you ask them in person, and they also don't think that whatever they say can be used against them. So you can actually get probably the most objective feedback from these people. And from the surveys that I did, thousands of students gave me feedback constantly, and I learned how to even make my talk better, make my lecture more interesting. If there was something that they didn't understand very well, I would tweak it a bit and test it out. And every single time I visited a school or university, later on I would know if that tweak was better or not. So that is one thing that you can do if you're doing that type of activism. Now, you may say that, what if I'm not doing that type of activism? Well, surveys are something that you can use in many ways. You know, if you're doing street activism and giving out cards, you can still have an access to a link where these people can fill out an anonymous survey about the conversation they had with you. They might share things with you that they weren't necessarily comfortable sharing in the first place when you were talking face to face. So how about already existing types of activism that are quite impactful? Now, we all wonder how much impact we're having, and the annoying part is that it's very difficult to know how much impact you're having, because how do you even give yourself that score? You know, how do you measure it? It's very much based on assumption. However, there's one thing that we can be sure of whether or not it's impactful or not, and that is, how is the animal agriculture industry replying to you? So if you did a certain type of activism and the animal agriculture industry tried to stop you doing that, tried to put obstacles in front of you, then that is quite a big message that says, we don't like the fact that you're doing this. And why would they do something if you're not really hurting them, let's say, financially, because that's what they care about? So let's start with the most simple thing. Food-based activism. There's a lot of companies and businesses that now offer plant-based alternatives, what they call, to meat and dairy and other animal-based products. And we have seen for years now, in different continents around the world, in different countries, the animal agriculture industry lobbying and making politicians pass laws to make it illegal to call these foods meat, milk, egg, or things like that. So if this industry is taking the time and money and the resources that they need in order to push for certain laws that would stop vegan companies or brands that are making vegan products to use these words, I believe that it can be translated to, this is hurting us, therefore we have to stop it. All right, if your enemy is trying to stop you from doing something, it probably means that you're having an impact on them, or at least that they're scared of it, which is something that we have to take into consideration, because then you know, all right, why would they be scared if it wasn't effective? Another thing that we can talk about is how the animal agriculture industry has lobbied into creating Gag Laws. For example, in a few states in the United States, there are laws that make you a domestic terrorist, like the category you would be put in if you got arrested for exposing footage of animal cruelty from farms or slaughterhouses. So even if you peacefully enter a building, peacefully without hurting anyone, and just take videos of what's happening to the animals, come out, publish it online, you get caught, you are by law a domestic terrorist. This is quite a heavy thing. And it's also quite a clear message that they don't want you to do this. Why? Because this industry relies on the customers not seeing those images, because they know that most of the time people who see these images don't really like that. And if they don't like that, they might consider not buying those products. So I think that's another way that we can say, all right, this type of activism is powerful. It's having an impact because they're trying to stop us. In Canada, they're trying to pass the Bill 156, which is very similar. Even whistleblowers can get punished by law if they just say like, hey, where I'm working, we're causing animal cruelty illegally. They can't even do that. This law can also be used to make it illegal to do vigils outside slaughterhouses, which has been a very peaceful movement so far all around the world. I mean, in the majority of the cases, it is very peaceful and very much love-based. So why would they want to pass these laws that make it impossible to do a vigil? I believe that's because during vigils, you also get to share footage of what's happening to the animals, and people are connecting with that. And the industry relies on secrecy, relies on the clients not seeing those photos and videos. So food-based activism that offers people alternative products to what they're buying at the moment, that is made of bodies of other animals, vigils, investigations, exposing the industry, exposing everything they're trying to hide. We know for sure, at least I can say, in my opinion, these are points that make it very obvious that this type of activism is effective. I think this is a very fair way to judge if what you're doing is effective or not. As I said, we can't really put a score on it, but I believe as an activist that we have to pay attention how the industry is reacting to everything we're doing. I'd love to hear what you think about this. I'd love to hear if you have any other examples of things that the industry has done that make us realize that a certain type of activism is effective and having an impact or scaring them. Please let me know in the comment section below what you think. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification button. And if you'd like to support my work, make sure to check out my website sebalex.org. I would really appreciate any kind of support that you offer. A big thank you to all my patrons. All the work I'm doing is thanks to your help and support. And also, I'd like to ask you to check out my new podcast on all the podcast platforms and on YouTube as well. Let me know what you think. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you in the next video.